Alrighty then, ladies and gentlemen, I have cracked the code for trading. I have cracked the code, but the way that I figured out how to understand the market movements is, it's a tough concept, okay? So it's not like an easy, hey, just click this button at this time. It takes a lot of understanding of how the market works. So I'm going to make a lot of videos on this, but the core concept is liquidity, understanding liquidity plus market maker movement. It's like the market makers are the people that do like the big candles, right? The whales, the big investors. But let's get into it. Okay, and again, this is just the intro. I'm going to do some more videos on this. It's a concept everybody's kind of heard of, ICT, but it's my own finally clicking understanding of why the market moves certain ways, when to predict the market, how to get into the market. So let's get after it. The first thing you have to figure out is your daily bias. I mean, it's a little bit harder than most. Daily bias just says you're going to look at the day chart. Is it going up? Is it going down for the day, right? If you had to pick a direction, what would you say is happening? We can kind of take a look at this, and we can all agree that right about here, things started going bullish, and then we kind of hit this top right here, blah blah blah, and now we're looking a little more on the bear side, okay? But here's the interesting point, and here's what I did today. I'll try and put the trading that I did this morning when I actually executed this trade into the tape. Okay, so you see these things. This is a fair value gap. Okay, so specifically this candle right here is a fair value gap, and a fair value gap just means that if you look right here, there was an overwhelming amount of buyers, so all of the sell contracts did not get filled. It just basically went boom, which means it's an imbalance. Okay, the market is always moving towards imbalances. It's always trying to level out when you're ordering. It's a marketplace, right? It's like if everybody's buying and the only people that get their order filled are the ones that are buying, then it has to even out because all these people that ordered to sell have to come back in. Okay, so anyway, so we came up to this all-time high, boom, and then we start just chugging down, right? And I saw this fair value gap, and I knew right away, okay, as soon as we bust down into this fair value gap, which we do right here on this big red candle, we're going to shoot back up, okay? Now, whenever you see this hit on liquidity, it's not the end-all, be-all that it's going to do exactly what you want it to do, but it's a good tell, okay? And the way that you look is first you look at the 4-hour, right? And you see the fair value gap, right? You mark it just like I did. And like the whole idea is internal liquidity and external liquidity, okay? So the internal liquidity of this move is pretty much the daily chart, okay? So we are now inside of this candle, right? You guys see that? We went boom, and now we're inside of this candle, right? So we are in the internal liquidity. The internal liquidity is pretty much from like here, and I'm going to use this candle as the other part to here, right? This is internal liquidity. We would all agree we are inside of this big-ass green candle, okay? Then when you go and you look at it on the 4-hour, you see that we are still inside this green candle, and right here is the core middle of that fair value gap. So this is a gap where all of the buy orders were filled and none of the sell orders were filled, so now there's an imbalance. So now we know that it's like a vacuum. It's gonna suck the market back to it, okay? And it's going to suck it into the even deeper fair value gap, and then once we hit that, we're going to bounce out of the internal range of liquidity. So we're always trying to go from internal range of liquidity to external range of liquidity, okay? And it happens over and over and over. But as you can see, we were on this tear up, right? So now we don't know if we're going to go higher. Probably will, just because we have the FOMC and all this other fun stuff. But, who knows? So we'll have to figure that out next week, right? But this was a great move, right? The other thing that we also have to understand, though, is that we are in a premium market, okay? Down here would be considered discount. So right here was the real move on Sunday, right, at 2 or whatever. If we would have got in, if we would have seen this and just like rode it all up, that would have been the move of all moves, okay? The other thing that you notice is before we have these big pumps to the next level, there's always a big candle, right, basically. And all this is telling us is, look, we want to go higher, but in order for the markets to go higher, they have to get more contracts, so they have to manipulate the market before it goes higher, okay? And you'll see this almost all the time. Even when it's about to go down, you see this little candle right here? That's your tell. That's your sign to get into the move, okay? Like today we had the big candle down, then we shot back up for an hour or 4 hours, right? All the way back up to here. That's a 100-point move, okay? So that would have been 100 points from just that one little fair value gap, boom, back up, okay? See other fair value gaps that haven't even been answered yet. So eventually we'll come all the way back down. We'll fill this fair value gap, right? We might even do it next week. We'll see if we have a down week, which might be kind of interesting after. But you see this range right here. You know, that's a fair value gap. And then even the one down below it, this is also a fair value gap. So I'll probably go for the lower one. Anyways, okay, so you look at it, you look at the 4 hour, you notice, hey, we are inside of this internal range, in the internal range of liquidity of this big ass green candle, okay? Whenever you see it, even on the 1 minute, right, you'll see this pattern over and over and over. Big red candle pops back in. About a halfway into the candle, keeps going down. So let's say on this way up, right? We hit the bottom down here, big move up, red candle down into this little fair value gap, which was this green one, continuation. Big green candle, pullback, continuation. Big green candle, it's a big push, pullback, continuation. Okay, and then every time before it's going to be another push. There's always the tell. This is your symbol to enter, because this is when to get in. So whenever you see, basically this is on the minute, so it's kind of tough. I would actually look at the 15-minute, probably be a better example. But every time before we're about to go for another move, you have this big candle. That's your sign that it's time to enter into the trade. Okay. So for this, with this combination of understanding daily bias, right? So where's the market going? Right, we were on a bull run. I believe my bias was we're gonna pull back and then pop, right? And we did that. Now we will go higher. Nobody knows. Like we might just come back up to all-time highs again and then reject. Right? There's a lot of resistance right there. So, but the steps are: find your daily bias, look and see if you are in external liquidity or internal liquidity, and understand that it's always pushing to counteract, to balance into that internal liquidity to go back to external liquidity. It's always going for that move, right? So you view it on the 4 hour, you mark out where your fair value gaps are, where the next steps are. You're going to confirm it on the 15-minute, right? So hey, where are we at in this little metric, right? So on the 15-minute, it looks a lot different than the 4 hour, right? So here was the top of that one. We just fell down. We came right back to yesterday's pretty much high, right? And that was the point of bouncing. Same pattern, but on the 15-minute, we were just confirming, like, hey, where are we going to hit? Okay, we hit right here. Boom, bounced up. We went higher, right? 120-point move. So this is what it looks like on the 15-minute. We had this huge fly upside, right? And you can still see that we bounced back into the internal liquidity, which means we're just trying to handle the market in this little spot before we bounce back to external liquidity, okay? And we came all the way into the fair value gap that we saw, right? And here there's kind of a fair value gap there that didn't get filled. Really, the fair value gap's down here, so we might actually still go lower, but we came into that range, bounced out. That's what I was looking for. That was the move. So now with this information, you're going to look at it on the 1 minute, and you're going to enter when you see this big fucking boom and then these big green candles. Then you're going to see it double tap, move down. That's your sign for entry. Push, come back into the range, push, confirmation, then come back into the range, push, and so on and so forth. And that's the method to the madness of, and then we kind of start to do some bearish, and we went bearish because we did not hit that all-time high, right? So we did not get another tell that we were going to go higher because we didn't form a new high here. We busted down until we came over here, and we see this little push down that got rejected at the VWAP. That was our tell to get in. All right, cool. So I hope this helps somebody. But this was a big breakthrough. It's all about liquidity. It's all about looking at the market, understanding where that we're going to be coming in, and we're always looking for All right, it came back. It hit the fair value gap. Now let's get in for another bounce. We're inside this internal liquidity, which tells me that we're going to be going to external liquidity. We're actually currently in external liquidity, which means we're going to try and come back in and balance out by going back into the internal liquidity, right? So these concepts, though, again, this is just an intro, have changed the game and made it so that I can make as much money as I want in the markets. All right, very exciting. I'll make some more videos going into further detail, and maybe I'll add the trade that I did this morning to this video. All right, appreciate you guys. Peace.